So obviously, as you can tell from my production quality of my videos, I do not write scripts. I do not plan out my videos. I just kind of hit record and I start talking away about random stuff to do with video games. This is the second time I'm doing this because I didn't check that my mic was muted. So for the last 10 minutes, I was talking to myself, recording nothing. And when you hit play expecting to at least hear something, and nothing plays, God, that is so demoralizing. So it's just kind of like, I've got to go over this again. I've got to say exactly what I've just said. Ugh. Anyway, not that you needed to hear that. I got into the tech test for TCM, Texas Chainsaw. I got into it through Steam. I did. I did apply to get like the content creator key. I did get one, but it was like later on, and I was already in through Steam, so it was kind of like irrelevant. It's on. It's still on right now. Not for too much longer, but it's been on over the weekend. And for those that don't know, it's a horror multiplayer game again. Now, there's not a million of these games out there, but I'm sure there's enough out there where people kind of know what they're going in for with this. Where it's usually 1v4. That's usually the main premise. And with those games, I'm gonna be honest, I do really like them, but I usually only like one side of the like playstyles. For example, with Evil Dead, I liked being survivor, couldn't stand being killer. I think Evil Dead actually has the worst killer out of all horror multiplayer games, personally. Dead by Daylight, love being survivor, can't stand being killer. Friday the 13th, it was the opposite. I loved being killer. I couldn't stand being survivor, at least by myself, playing solo survivor on Friday the 13th. That was so boring. So where does this stand? I honestly think both playstyles are fun, and it might be down to the fact that both playstyles are team based now. This isn't 1v4, this is 3v4. That is 3 killers versus 4 survivors. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, 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 that sounds so imbalanced. And it does on paper. You're like, so you want to make the killers, the ones who are overpowered, have multiple of them against like pretty much equal amount of other players as a survivor. It just works. You're not overpowered in this. You can't like just grab the survivor and just like yank them about and just cut the head off right on the spot. It doesn't work that way. You've really got to like work to lock them down and lock them into rooms, and it's not like as a survivor you've got a lot of options. Not like you can just pull out like an AK-47 and blow them away. It's a very grounded kind of like system. And if you're a fan of the movie, the original Texas Chainsaw, they've nailed the visuals, they've nailed the sound, they've just nailed the atmosphere, and they've never took liberties. They've never gone like, well, what do people like in these games? They like tons of gore. The original Texas Chainsaw doesn't have tons of gore. It's all in your head. You think it does, but it doesn't really. So when you're seeing these kills and whatnot, they're really not that violent. They're not. They're really tame by today's standards. Do I think they should up them? I guess it depends on whether you're gonna like start incorporating the sequels. But for what they've tried to do, where they've tried to like mimic that first film and like make it one to one in a way, even though it's not, they've nailed it so well. The mechanics, the whole like feeding grandpa, and grandpa like tells you where the players are for like they get detected by him. Each killer's got its own abilities. It's not just about running around like a headless chicken and slicing players up. I know this footage makes it look like that. It looks like I'm just hunting down players and cutting them up. But you've got to run around and you've got to like lock the actual house down. You've got to make sure there's padlocks on doors. You've got to make sure the generator's on so you electrify the fences so they can't just get out. Make sure those gates are locked so they have to pick locks to even get the exits open. You've really got to try and make it hard for the survivors to get out. It's not just automatically like when you start these games. Usually, take Dead by Daylight for example. When the game starts, the killer doesn't have to run around and make sure all the generators are off and make sure the exit gates are closed. That's the best way to describe it. This you do. You've got to make sure the generator's on to electrify. I've already gone over that. You get my point. There's a lot to do. It's not just run round, kill people. And there's definitely an annoyance factor at the start of it, which you get with these games, where it's like, fuck, what do I do? You keep getting like notifications on the screen saying such and such, because obviously player ID has escaped the farm, and it's like, what? How? Where? What the fuck's going on? When you first start playing, it doesn't do a very good job of explaining what you need to do. You get this like little tutorial video. Keep in mind with the tech test, it wasn't like a full build of the game. It only gave you one map. Technically two, because I got into. I don't know when that happened. But for most of it, I've been on this map here, which is the main house. But then I was in like it was like a meat factory, like a butcher place. That was the other map that I was on, and I've only been in that once, but it was definitely there. You could definitely get on it. It was just really random. Um, but there's a good like amount of variety to it. It's I don't know, man. They've nailed it. They've really nailed it. I still don't know what I'm doing as a survivor. I'd be lying if I said I did. I've had a few games as a survivor. I've put about 5 hours total into the game. And most of that's just been playing killer. But after I got over the initial hump, which, oh my god, it was infuriating. Like, where the fuck was the generator? Where the fuck's this? Where the fuck's that? Once you know where stuff is, it's a blast. It's so much fun. And when this game comes out, not only will 100% it's a day one purchase, I know it goes into Game Pass, but like, I'm gonna have to buy this. August, I don't think anything else is coming out either. It's gonna have to be bought, and even if I don't buy it, that the season pass or whatever the hell's gonna come with it, that's getting bought. That is absolutely getting bought. And if there's any Martin saying that it's gonna leave Game Pass, no way, I'll buy it. It's so fun. Hope to sort out crossplay. I know they want crossplay in, and I'm pretty sure they haven't confirmed it. But PlayStation, Xbox, and PC players all need to be able to like squad up and be on the same servers, just so there's a huge amount of players. Like the Game Pass, you know when games go into Game Pass for multiplayer, they just bring so many players online. It's great. When a game goes into PlayStation Plus, so many more players come on. It's just great. So I'm just hoping along the road that kind of like breathes new life into it. If anyone like kind of like leaves the game, if you will, because Evil Dead did that. Evil Dead servers were going. They put it on PlayStation Plus. There was just an influx of so many new players. It was great. It made the game fun again. There's just ways to manage stuff like that. I hope they've got content planned, man. You can't be lazy with this. You really can't. When this comes out, right, it's gonna have 3 maps. It's gonna have the 5 killers. 2 weren't available on this tech test. I don't know how many survivors there is, but like, I mean, how many whatever survivors there is. They've all got their own abilities as well, survivors. So it's like it's not like each survivor's just a skin like Dead by Daylight. Each character does something. So I think that's a better thing personally because it makes them more unique. You don't just like the character because of the way they look. It's kind of like, what does the character bring to the table? I think that's a better mechanic personally, which might make Survivor a bit more fresh. I might enjoy it if I can, wrap my head about what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. Which I think I'm just gonna wait for the final game where Survivor's concerned. I was more curious about being killer, so that's where I spent most of my time, and I'm probably just gonna jump back in actually and get a couple more games in before the servers go off. Um, but yeah, content is key. Content is key. You need a constant flow of content. You do. You can't be bringing it out and then 3 months later you're like, oh, here's one extra map in a survivor. You can't do that. You've gotta fucking hit this and show us that you're committed to supporting it, because then all the player base, guess what happens? They all go, we are committed to playing it and we'll stick around because you're sticking around. You gotta hit this thing fast. You do. Um, but from the initial gameplay, the initial like feel of the game and how it plays out, and the loop and the things that you have to do with each killer, because it's not like when you get in as a killer, Leatherface is required. You have to have Leatherface, or it doesn't work. And I mean, it makes sense. He is the poster boy. Each killer has like a different objective to do in the map, so it's kind of like I don't know what the other 2 new ones are going to do, but they're all going to bring something to the party. So it's kind of like you need them. You need them to be there, so it's going to be a fresh experience every time you play it, depending on which character you're being. It is. It's not going to be samey. You've got so much things to do on the actual map where like locking it down is concerned, and then there's the killing the players and chasing them. So the actual chase mechanics are actually fun. And you'd think it would be overpowered being in third person, but because they can just hide in the dark, you see how dark some of the visuals are. It's really hard to see them sometimes. They can just hide, and you don't see them. Even though it's in third person, you think you would see them. You don't. Shit's crazy. Listen, this game is going to be fun as hell, and if you're into horror multiplayer games, keep your eyes open for this one. I'm telling you, this is going to be awesome. Alright, people, that's all I got. Hopefully this time it recorded. Let me know what you think about Texas Chainsaw as a movie, as this video game. Alright, people, that's all I got. I'll catch you later.